6:37 on WMAL. Brian Eman, Katie Pavlich from Town Hall, author of the book Fast and Furious. And for Brian Wilson this morning, thanks for coming in, Katie.
Happy to be here.
Got Joe DeGenevieve, our legal expert, coming up at 7:06. We'll also check in with ABC's Alex Stone, who's in London at 7:15 for the Olympics. Right now, we're going to head out to Wisconsin, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee. ABC's Stephen Portnoy is there. Yesterday, a gunman opened fire and killed 6 people at a Sikh temple. Stephen Portnoy is there. First of all, Stephen, let's back up and talk about exactly what happened, when it happened, how police were notified, and exactly what this gunman did.
All right, Brian. It was about 10:30 Central Time yesterday morning here at this Sikh Temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. The first calls came in. They were so muffled that the dispatcher couldn't understand what people were saying. The dispatcher initially thought that there was an altercation or a fight. In fact, you hear on the police scanner suggestion that, it's not really clear what's going on, and I really don't know, the dispatcher says. And then a few moments later, reports of shots fired. And then just minutes later, you hear the anguish in the voices of the officers as one of the responding officers is himself shot. The responding officers encountered the suspect, shot and killed him, and that ended the situation as we know now. But in the moment, the suggestion was there were other shooters inside.
Right.
People were huddled inside bathrooms and closets and pantries, terrified for hours, until police were able to enter the building and let everyone out.
Do you know how long it took police to get there? I'm just looking at this and I said, well, thank goodness there weren't more people killed, because it seems like he was there during, ceremonies for the temple, and yet there was nobody there to really help anybody out. And then police got there and they actually found the shooter outside, right?
Yeah, they did, and our understanding was that the shooter began shooting outside, then went inside, and then went back outside, where he was encountered by police. Based on my listening to the recording, it seems as though the response was within 3 or 4 minutes.
Wow!
From the first call to the interaction with police officers. So actually, you know what? I'd say it's probably something like 6 or 7 minutes now that I think about the timeline. But
it's still, that's incredibly fast. Right,
a matter of minutes. We're expecting to learn more this morning from the police here in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, as to their investigation. We know overnight, Brian, they went into what we believe to be the suspect's home in a nearby town, about 5 miles drive from here. We know, based on reports, that this man was a tenant in a home that he rented only about a month ago. There are reports that he was from Chicago. Also a report that we cannot yet confirm that he was a veteran of the U.S. Army. Sources describe him to ABC News as a white supremacist or a skinhead. We do not yet know his name. We're hoping to learn that at a news conference this morning.
Do you have any description of the hostage situation that took place before police arrived on the scene?
There were reports of hostages being taken, but I don't know that in fact was what happened here. I think that people locked themselves in to basements, a pantry. See, at this time yesterday morning, the women were in the kitchen in the basement preparing a large festival meal at the end of a 48-hour prayer reading that would have been a meal open to the entire community. Some people have been coming and going all morning because this is a place where people can pray reflectively before the scheduled services at 11:30. That's when hundreds of Sikhs would have come here. It's described as a fortuitous situation that the shooter came at 10:30 and not 11:30, because there could have been many more victims if he arrived at a time when this place was more crowded.
We're talking with ABC's Stephen Portnoy, who's in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, the scene of shooting at a Sikh temple there near Milwaukee. All right, so we're looking, obviously, for information about this shooter, who he is. The police have been kind of quiet on that. Is there a reason why they haven't released the suspect's name at this point?
I assume it's because they want to fully investigate, and perhaps they're afraid that if they release the suspect's name, that may in some way hamper their investigation, their ability to learn more before we all try to learn more.
Right.
Because I suppose now it's a bit frustrating for all of us, for you listening to how we describe this. We don't have these answers yet because police haven't told us the name. The minute they do, we'll be able to learn more about his background. For example, if he has a military record, there's a report that this man is a veteran of the Army. I, again, have no confirmation of that, but that is what the local newspaper here is reporting.
Okay.
So all of this information, which will hopefully help us understand, was the 9mm semi-automatic pistol that he purchased, was it purchased legally? All these questions will hopefully be answered as soon as we get his name.
Well, the report, if the skinhead, obviously people think, well, he did this because of racial reasons. Do we know that? We don't know that for a fact right now. Obviously, we'll find out down the road. But do the people who go to this temple, do the Sikhs, do they believe that they were targeted because of who they are?
Well, I think that that's a safe assumption, Brian. I think that it saddens them, and it's so interesting because when you perhaps you've heard about this, when Sikhs describe the fact that they have been targeted since 9/11, they are quick to point out the distinction between Sikhism and Islam and Hinduism. They are a separate sect, and they're also quick to say, not that there's anything wrong with being Muslim, but they are often confused for being Muslim, and they say there's a difference. They wear turbans and have beards, but they say they are not Muslim for what that's worth.
How much evidence do you really think we're going to see, though, behind a motive, considering the gunman is now dead and he won't be available for questioning or interrogation as to why he decided to go to this temple, whether it was a mistake? Do you really think we're ever going to get those solid answers on that?
Well, we might. It depends. What was on his computer? Did he leave any kind of manifesto? Did he leave any kind of note? Did he have any suggestion? Where did he purchase the weapon? Who did he talk to? Was he part of a group? All these things might be true, might not be true, but we won't know until we begin to investigate. I'm sure police have spent most of the last 24 hours trying to answer those questions themselves. And once we get his name, we can begin to do our own reporting.
All right. ABC Stephen Portnoy live in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Thanks for your time, Stephen.